I don't even know if it was like actually a super dangerous situation, but I could hear the concern in my midwife's voice. And so when she said that, all of a sudden I tuned into the song. It said, "Let there be life. Like, let there be life." And I just remember that moment. I was like, you're in agonizing pain, but then it was like everything in me, like every ounce of life in me was like, this life is coming out right now.
Here we go.
I can't believe we're doing this again.
I know, round
already.
two. Well, welcome, Nora. Later on in life, watching this, this is your birth story video podcast, and Truly sleeping. So we're gonna whisper and be a little quieter.
Your big sister.
Yeah, you'll notice, Nora, if you watch Truly's, that we're in a different home. We're in a different environment here.
A lot's changed.
A lot has changed, and so we're in a cottage on the campus right now. But that's not what this is about. This is about you.
Only a
Nora.
year and a half later.
Right here.
This is what's new. This is what's up, girly.
You are officially 8 days old, which is the same time we did Truly's. So we're just going to have to do all these when they're 8 days old.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be the thing.
Apparently, this is just when it works best for us.
Yeah, it does. And you guys are a little more, calm-ish, I guess, at 8 days old than you are at 3. So
I don't know. I feel like she slept for the first few days.
Yeah. So again, we wanted to do these for all you kids, all our future kids, however many we have. We want to.
I know. Look at us. We're so young,
Yeah.
Nora.
We want to tell your birth story, and from our perspective, so you can hear it told while it's fresh on our minds, and while we don't want to forget, precious and rich details of the experience and the time that we got to experience you coming into the world. So you matter to us that much, and it means a lot that we can do this for you so that you can watch this later on in life. So anyway, with that said, we're going to do this as we did last time. I'm just going to interview Mom and ask her questions.
Okay.
So
she's waking up.
She is waking up. We almost might have to stop right now to get you on the nip.
Don't keep that in there. I feel like I look like a Padawan or something from Star Wars.
With the drape, yeah. All right, we're back.
Okay. Here we go.
First question. I think this was the first question I asked you last time.
Okay.
What did God teach you during this pregnancy? So we'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Throughout the pregnancy, what did God teach you?
Well, I think it started right before I was actually pregnant, or before I knew I was pregnant. Was first, I feel like this is going to be slightly repetitive, but
that's okay.
Yeah, because pregnancy is such a faith journey, honestly, and that's what I want my girls to know, and every other little mama who watches this. It's almost like during pregnancy, you are so depleted of yourself, and you're physically vulnerable. It feels like you're just physically not as well, or not 100%, and it's the natural process of your body doing what it needs to do to be able to sustain life, but in that's kind of taking of your life a bit, in like truly the essence of nurture, like nutrients and stuff. And so it just feels like a little bit you're a little more vulnerable spiritually and physically to just a lot of attacks and a lot of doubts and lies. And it feels like every pregnancy, I think I'm going to hold myself to this, but it kind of feels like every pregnancy the Lord is going to be showing you a new reliance on Him. So I think it started right before that, because not going to lie, when we first had Truly, I was terrified. Not terrified, that's not the right word, but I was very content on waiting for a while, I think, before having another one. I don't think I voiced that, but there was definitely, after Truly's birth, it was like, wow, that was really intense, and the experience was
You weren't
just
looking to just
tough.
get going right away again.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, when will I be ready? It wasn't a question of if I wanted to ever have another kid. It was just more like, oh my goodness, okay, when will I be ready to do that over again? And not that having truly, by any means was like the question of whether or not I would want another one, but it was more of just, wow, that physically, the whole 9 months is very taxing on your body. And then the actual birthing process was much more intense than I anticipated. Quite literally the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my life. So, for me, I was just like, okay, like I know I'm going to have more children soon or at some point, but I just don't know how soon. So there was a little bit of fear that kind of settled in, I think, after Truly, and I didn't really realize it until we started talking about, like, when would we have another one? And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. And then, I felt like the Lord was resurfacing some of those fears and being like, hey, these aren't surrendered to me, which was that whole process of us having to come to that piece of, wait, do we trust the Lord with this? And was kind of like the beginning of that journey. And definitely, again, I think the Lord gave both of us like full peace before we even knew we were pregnant. So by the time we got pregnant with Nora, I was very excited. I was really excited. Yeah. Actually, we didn't get pregnant right away. And so by the time we both had peace, we thought we were going to be pregnant like right away, because that's what happened with Julie. We're like, of course, our peace is here, so we're going to have a baby. And then it took a little longer than it did with Julie. And so that was a different perspective too of like, God is the one who gives life. Like, you can think you're ready and you can have all the peace in the world, but really this is God's story, and he's the one who gives life, and the author of it. So right then and there, it was working through fears at first, but then when we came to that piece of surrender again, it was like, all right, now don't expect things to be the same, I think, but just because they're not the same doesn't mean it's not going to be as good. I actually think that's probably the biggest thing throughout this whole pregnancy that I've learned.
That things can be different, but just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously, like, I think we'll probably get into some of this stuff, but I'll just say in general, this pregnancy was really different, and the labor was really different. Everything was different, which made me go, okay, is this a bad thing? Like, everything's going differently. Is the result going to be different? And yeah, the results are different. It's a different child, but
yeah. And so let's just put that out there. Like, everything was in a sense easier this time around.
I would say physically more. Well, yeah, definitely. Like
I think you felt stronger.
I felt physically stronger. I felt spiritually stronger.
Spiritually stronger.
It's almost like I kind of knew where the angles of the attacks of the enemy were going to come from, so I was expecting it. Yeah.
And so with things being that way, what was the common takeaway, though? I guess what was the same in terms of, I guess, the value of the experience, or just the meaning behind it, or like you're kind of getting there, but like to you, what carried over in the sameness of it?
Well, in the sameness would be full reliance on the Lord, like just trusting that from the beginning to from conception to the deliverance of the child, like knowing that there's nothing you could actually do to sustain this life or to have a certain outcome, right? Like, there's nothing you can actually do to not get what you want. That's not the word. But there's nothing you can do to manipulate this process, really. I mean, I'm sure you can harm
totally
it.
Be taking drugs.
Yeah,
and
you can definitely harm the process. But when your point
is that, like, you can't guarantee what will end up happening.
Right. And
at the end
you just have to trust that it's going to be God's goodness. Like, when your heart is for the best of the child and you just desire so badly for like the same result, right, as the first of like a healthy baby, and like there's no traumatic experiences like to the baby or to me, and delivering all that stuff along the way. I mean, every checkup, you're just waiting to hear that heartbeat. Like, you just want to know it's there, because it's like almost every mile you're like, okay, we're good, God, right? Like, you're sustaining this life, right? And so there's, in the sameness, I'd say full dependence on God, full reliance on God. But I knew that going into it this time. I knew that intellectually, and I even feel very spiritually stronger in that area than I did with Truly.
Did you have a point or a moment where you surrendered, and saying like, okay, Lord, even if everything is not okay, even if this isn't a totally healthy birth or a healthy baby on the other side of it, like, I'm still okay with whatever happens, because like you're saying, obviously the hope is that, okay, everything's okay, like she's healthy, there's nothing wrong, but I feel weird even saying like nothing's wrong, because like even if something was technically like wrong medically, you're still getting to the point where you're just like, I'm still okay with that because this child is made in the image of God, and they're their own, they're their own person. And so, like, did you come to that? Did you come to that point?
Yeah, every day. I think it was more of like an everyday process of continuing to surrender, to continue to trust. Like back to that whole thing is, Lord, do you have my full trust? Because every time I'd have doubts or fears coming in, like you're not taking enough prenatals and all the stuff. Man, I'm really starting more and more to just believe that this is God's story, right? And so if your heart is at least as your heart is to take good care of your body and not intentionally doing anything to harm your child, like
we still ate a lot of steak.
We ate a lot of steak.
A lot of red meat.
Be smart, be wise. Like, obviously, like wisdom should not ever go out the door. But when you are trying to walk in wisdom and you're trying to walk in like the shepherding heart of a mother, God sees that. Like God sees the heart of a mother even when you're learning how to be a mother. And so I think it was just like every day, and that's what I've learned since having Truly, is that is literally the life of a mother, is continue to surrender your children back to Him, because from the very moment that you receive the news of life to their very first breath to their very next day, they survive through a day, you just realize like, wow, this child is really the Lord's, and He sustains this child, and you get to be a part of that process. And I think a huge thing, and this is probably going to be my takeaway, and I was like waiting for the right question to kind of get here, but I'll just jump there, is like not allowing the enemy to rob you of God's wonder. That's the biggest thing with little Nora that the Lord returned to my heart, and is something that I treasured almost the whole pregnancy. I kind of had to come to that reminding spot at some point, or put it in those words, I guess, of like what I was really holding on to. And I felt like the Lord kind of gave me that restored vision or perspective throughout her pregnancy of, this is God's blessing. This is God's gift. And so when we allow ourselves to give in to fear or listen to lies and doubts of, oh, what if something happens to the child, or you're not able to sustain the life, or all these things, and trying to already put plants in your mind of fears. So what if any of those came true? You are the one that got to receive the life. You are the one that got to walk and carry that life for however long, or whatever the outcome, if that child is more in need of you from birth, right? If there was something that happened during the birth process that requires more of you than a typical birth, like, so be it. You are part of that story. You were chosen. And in that point, it was like the Lord saying, my wonder is greater than your understanding. You just have to trust that process, and don't allow the enemy's lies and fears rob you of the miracle that's you're walking. Like, you're walking that miracle. You shouldn't be over it yet. You shouldn't already be worried about what would happen, because you're in the process of that miracle. So don't allow the enemy to rob it. And I think that was a huge thing that really carried me through this pregnancy and really gave me a lot more peace and joy in it.
Okay, so last pregnancy question then. Hardest part and easiest part.
Hardest part. I just think it's always going to be the hardest part, which is like literally getting through sickness. I mean, it's like having a long flu.
It is terrible.
I mean, as much as this one was still smoother than Truly's, I think I still ended up getting an actual flu on top of my normal morning sickness. Like, it's always going to be kind of bad.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to the hospital just to get some Zofran because I could not keep anything down. And then having the flu on top of that, I just, like, depleted my body entirely, and that was a miserable experience. Yeah. So, you know, honestly, the physical aspect, I think, is always going to be, like, the least favorable part. And then what was the other part? The best part?
Easiest part?
Easiest part? Golly.
I feel like you ate a lot more during this one. Like, stuff didn't bother you as much.
It's hard for me to think that way just because I just remember so easily what it felt like to always be nauseous. But, the easiest. I don't know.
It was still hard to kiss me because my breath, made you nauseous. I don't know.
I think the easiest part was just, like, having had walked this before, was just having those pillars in my walk this time, just knowing, like, again, you're going to face fears, you're going to face all the things, but it was a lot quicker. Like, it didn't burden my mind as much, I think, even though the tactics came. I feel like I was just more on guard, and I kind of just knew the enemy would come to try to rob something, rob your joy of such an amazing thing. So honestly, I think the easiest thing was the spiritual aspect for me, and then in general, just kind of like knowing what to expect. Like, even on the harder days of, like, feeling sick and stuff, I just kind of knew that was a part of the dealio, and I just didn't know that stuff truly. Yeah. So, yeah, expectations, I guess.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I think for me this time around, similar in a lot of those ways as the first time around. Mm-hmm. It just sucks seeing how sick you get.
But, like, knowing that that's okay, like knowing that's a part of the process,
okay, and it is a part.
Like, you're not dying.
Yeah,
you're like,
but
this is literally part of pregnancy.
It's just agonizing to, like, for me not to be able to do anything other than hold your hair back and, like, keep it from getting you to throw up. It's like, okay, sorry to get graphic, but that just sucks. But you accept it as, like, okay, I know it's coming, so just be encouraging and, like, rub her back and just be present and, like, I don't know, just get through it. But yeah. So
but also just because I had walked it before, I had that, I don't know if anyone else has this, but that runner's mentality where you kind of juke yourself. Is that the word? Like, you're trying to, like, play mind games. You're like, oh, it's this hard, or it's going to be this hard. And so I'll, like, prepare my mind for, like, the worst of it. Like, be like, oh, it's going to be
worse than it was.
Well, like, or just remember how hard Truly's was and be like, oh, it's going to be exactly the same. But then when it was a little easier, then I was like, oh, wait, this is a blessing. Like, prepare my brain for war, essentially. Yeah, I think I did that a lot.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, whatever
even
works.
leading up to the delivery, I'm like, it's probably going to be, like, 2 times as long, or it's going to be 2 times as more painful. Playing mind games, I guess.
No, for sure.
Probably not the best way to do it, but.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just jump to.
Gosh, I had this last time with Truly. This, like, dry cough thing afterwards. I don't know what the heck. Anyway.
So let's jump to kind of maybe, I guess, like, the week leading up, because, like, that, if, like, things started happening, obviously not the day of, right?
Yeah.
So
let's
kind of back
different.
it up, and we'll go to just wherever you want to, like, start, where you feel like maybe things really did start initiating into labor, I guess, which was okay. And then also just, so your birthday was February 12th. That's when you were born. So back us up then to when you felt like, okay, things are starting to start. Things starting to move along.
Well, okay. So back to the whole thinking things are going to be the same, or trying to prepare my mind for, like, the hardest outcome, I guess. I expected to have Nora 4 days earlier or something like that, similar to Truly. So
yeah, we were expecting probably like the 3rd or the 4th.
Yeah, I was expecting the 2nd of February. Later.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, she's going to come early. I was measuring small, leading up to everything too. Like, since 36 or 7 weeks, I was 36 inches, and I never moved from there on out. And I was like, oh, is this a bad thing? Does this mean she's just really small?
Because she just kept burying herself lower and lower and lower.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be so small. Yeah. She's going to be like 6 pounds, 4 ounces or something. I was thinking, man, this is just going to be a breeze if she's that small. But I was really thinking she's going to come early. Like, I have a heart set on a date for some reason. But the date came by the 2nd, and nothing happened. My mom flew in early, too, just to make sure she was here. And obviously, we only have precedence to, have our best guesses on. So, with precedent...
Everybody tells you every baby's different, but we're still hoping, like... it's going to be the same. Like, probably born around the same time.
Yeah. So,
same way.
about a week before she came, I was pretty set on her coming the first week of February. So, when that due date, when we got up to her due date, which was the 8th, I think is what Galen had. We had like 3 due dates: 2nd, 8th, the 7th, whatever one. All of them are wrong.
None of them, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because it can totally be none of them.
Yeah.
So, okay,
man, I wish we didn't have a due date, because maybe it'd be like easier in your brain.
Just sometime in this month,
yeah.
like just get ready. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, but due dates come around. We're still a week out.
Yeah.
So you're like preparing mentally every day.
Every day.
Every day you're just getting ready to say,
Yeah.
I'm fixing to go into
Like,
this.
I'm going to war.
Yeah. And then days keep happening.
Right. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this baby's not coming out, and it doesn't feel like she's getting close. I mean, she was real low. Like, every midwife appointment, my midwife is like, yeah, wow, she's real low. And I'm so like, yeah, she's ready to come out, right? So she's coming early.
She couldn't find her head.
Yeah.
Right?
She was like, I know you have a head in there, so but I can't feel it. She's like, let me just check. So she took a little hand ultrasound
Doppler
thing
out, and she found your chin.
Yeah,
Nora.
she found her chin.
She could see the chin, so we knew there was a head there.
Because she was so deep and low my pelvis. Yeah. So I was like, hey, she's coming early. She's ready to go. I'm ready to meet her. We're ready to not be pregnant anymore. We're ready to have this life. We were all in the ready stage, but her, actually. So anyway.
You just needed to cook a little longer.
Yeah. So each due date that passed, I was a little like, okay, this is, again, God's story, right? The Lord already told me in the beginning of this, it's not going to be the same, but I keep trying to think it is. So anyway, yeah, it pretty much every day passed from the 2nd to the 12th, 10 days of me thinking every day I was going into labor. But what did actually end up happening, though, my mom flew down early to be with me and trying to make sure she was there, because my family just moved to Alabama and we're really, really close. And so,
which was so nice. We just ended up getting an extended vacation.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah. Part of me was like, all right, stay in there as long as you want. I'm just kidding.
And then Jaden and Stephanie flew down as well for a time.
From the 4th to the 8th.
They ended up having to go home before, so that was sad. But
yeah. And Nora's still in there. And so this whole time my mom is here, we're like out walking. I think we walked like 3 or 4 or 5Ks.
Doing
like,
all the things.
Doing all the things other than, castor oil, which I wasn't going to go there unless of very, very desperate measures. So yeah, we were just really trying to help her along, but trying not to get, overworked or too tired. That was one lesson I learned with Truly. I was like, golly, go to bed. If you're about to have a baby, don't stay up late. Go to bed. Get some rest. So I definitely tried to do that whole time, and then I was just starting to get bored and like starting to mentally just be like, oh my gosh.
We got pretty stir crazy in the house.
Yeah.
Like, get us the heck out of here.
Yeah. And so I was like, goodness, surely she has to come at some point. I
and
literally had that
all the
thought.
walks of just wanting to get out of the house.
Yeah. And I literally had the thought. I was like, surely she has to come out, right? And yes, she does. So, but that week, so the whole week of leading up to her birth, she ended up being 4 days late. So Truly was 4 days early. Nora was 4 days late. And just like a second child, just following Sissy, but a little slower.
And so is it in that first week that Braxton Hicks are starting?
Well, no. So I had Braxton Hicks. That's very normal to have, like, since the second trimester. But I ended up having what's typically known as, like, false labor. And I kind of had heard about it. And this time around with Nora, I just had heard a lot more things than I did with Truly. So with Truly, I went in totally blind. It was like, all right, everything for the first time, want no expectations, don't want to listen to anything that anyone anyone's experiences or anything, because I just don't want to compare it. Well, then with Nora, I feel like I was comparing like all sorts of things, like wanting to know a lot more information. I think that helped for sure with just hearing other people's experiences. But so with Nora, I ended up having some false labor multiple days for like 3 hours in the middle of the night. And false labor essentially is just like your contractions are coming on. They're like Braxton Hicks, but a little stronger, and they're consistent, and you're thinking that it's going to lead to labor, but 3 hours later they subside, and you're like, oh man, well, I thought this was the moment. I'm gearing up to call on my people.
That happened how many times?
3 times.
3 times.
3 times. And so I was like, dang. And every time I had false labor and I was up by myself, I didn't wake you up. And I didn't call anyone because I was just waiting for things to progress. And I could tell that they were just not getting to truly level contractions. So I was like, all right, I'm not in that much pain where I'm like, I'm not convinced. They weren't convincing enough. So, yep, sure enough, every time they subsided, besides the last time when I did wake you up. I woke you up the last time thinking, all right, maybe these are for real, because it did feel like they were a little more stronger than the ones before, which the ones before were stronger than, the ones before were stronger than Braxton Hicks. So all of them were false labor. I didn't call him a midwife on the last time around. I was like, hey, so I'm not convinced this is labor, but I also don't want to let something go too long to where I could actually be having a baby in the car, because we're an hour and a half from our midwife. And I was like, well, if my water broke, would I be having a baby in the car if my contractions are this close together, XYZ. So anyway, I called her at like 1:30 a.m. I think it was like Thursday. Or no, it wasn't Thursday. It was like Tuesday. And she told me to go to bed. She's like, just try to go to bed. If you can't sleep it off, then they're probably going to subside. So I was like, all right, I don't want it to be true, because I want to have this baby and I want it to like be progressing, but I'm going to do what my midwife said. And she was right. I went to sleep and I could feel myself kind of contracting throughout the night, but I was still like, yeah, I can kind of sleep through these, I guess. So the next day was a little rough day. First of all, I was super tired, honestly, because of these multiple episodes of false labor were kind of making me, I was like losing sleep throughout the night, being up for about 3 hours at a time, and, definitely working with some real contractions, and then just waking up, early, so you got a toddler in the mix now, and it's not just, us. We had Truly now, and so keeping up with Drew in the days, which was so nice to have my mom and sisters there during that time frame, because by that point my back was like really hurting from all the walking we'd been doing, and I could definitely feel just a lot of pressure. And so thinking, I'm like tired, I'm really getting exhausted mentally and physically. So that last day before Nora came, obviously we didn't know it, but I was contracting pretty much all day long and thinking, man, these dang Braxton Hicks, you're fooling me. And so I was just kind of like, whatever. My mom and I went on a walk, and it was kind of like the last walk we went on, and I was just like, man, I'm slow right now. I can't keep up. So it just felt like a marathon every day that went by that she didn't come. But then the next day, I woke up about the same time I did the last 3 times I had false labor, and sure enough, it started to progress. Yeah. And do you want me to just keep going, or I feel like I'm just talking?
Okay, remind me the time that started.
My contractions.
Yeah, like when did you think, okay, this is different?
Yeah. So, I woke up contracting again. This is, let's see, 10? No, I went to bed about 10. On Wednesday night, and I woke up, I could feel myself contracting. I don't know how long it was, sometime between 10 and 12, but I woke up at 12, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get up, because these are definitely uncomfortable laying down. So I'm just going to get up, and I'm just going to do what I did every other night, and kind of just track them, see what's going on. And to me, they were progressing. I could tell they were getting a lot more painful. I was really having to just keep my mind just at ease during the contractions, and having to breathe through them, or starting to breathe through them. And I was like, okay, I think these ones are for real. So I woke Reagan up about an hour later, about 1.
And then your mom came down.
So this was different because I was waiting for these contractions.
You're just as vocal as your sister, Nora.
I was waiting for the contractions to become convincing enough, and so once they did become convincing enough, I woke up Reagan, but this was all different again than Truly. I literally kept praying. I was like, Lord, just break my water. Just break my water. That way I know. Like, I'm not going to drive an hour and a half out there and then have to turn around and come back. Like, that'd be devastating. At that point, I was like, it would be so sad.
Because the news was your water broke immediately. With
Truly.
But the first thing that happened.
Yeah,
was your water
that was the
breaking with
first
Truly.
thing, and it made my labor very intense. So with this one, my water just wasn't breaking, and I was like literally praying, and the Lord, he was like, Faith, you don't know what you ask. You don't know what you ask, Faith.
I feel like this was our James and John moment. You don't know what you're asking me.
So I was like praying the Lord break my water, because I just wasn't convinced. I mean, I was definitely sure that the contractions were stronger and taking more from me, but I was like, it's still fake. It's fake. It's not going to happen. But then when I woke up Reagan, I was like, all right, maybe I'll just I need an affirmation. Like, is this like real? So then I wake you up and you're just kind of like, I don't know, like, just call Galen, my midwife. And I'm like, no, I don't want to wake her up. This is the same timeline that I had called her the couple days ago.
You've literally called her every time it's been like around.
Well, Truly, when my water broke, it was about 1:30. Then the other night when I had false labor, the last time I had false labor, I called her about 1:30, and then it was 1:30ish again. I was like, no. She was the last person I called. I called my mom first.
Setting alarms at 1:30 around the week of our due dates.
Yeah, so I woke up Reagan. He didn't really help with affirming me that this was. He was just like, call your midwife. I'm like, no.
Well, I was like, boy who cried wolf. Just call her, see what she says.
And then, so instead I called my mom. I was like, hey, I think this is real. So she came down, and I called your mom, and she hadn't even gone to bed yet, just like Truly. She was just like up, and I knew it by the way she answered her phone. Hey, I was like, she's up. So she answered, and I told her, and she let Cameron and Alicia, our sisters, know who were going to come to the midwife with me. And so I'm like making these calls, being like, all right, I'm trying to convince myself this is going to happen. And then they all show up, and I'm like, I haven't called Kaylin yet. I haven't called my midwife yet. And my mom's like, just call her. So then I call her, and I just tell her, like, hey, I'm going to come in and finish laboring at the birthing center. And at this point, I was like, I literally started crying. I was like, I'm going to feel so bad if this isn't real. And I mean, I got over it really quick, but it was just like one moment that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just like not convinced. But anyway, we start heading there, and it has to be somewhere around like 2 at this point, because we got there about 3:30. It was an hour and a half away. So we head to the birthing center and labored in the car for an hour and a half. That was fun.
The drive was, I feel like, so much more
chill.
Chill, yeah, peaceful. I wasn't speeding the whole time. I actually stuck to the speed limit. Yes, okay.
Well, because I was just kind of like chill.
We just had music playing. Mm-hmm. Your mom was in the car with you, so you were just working through the contractions in the back, and we were just chill.
I will say, laboring in the car is not very fun, because during every contraction you like hit a bump or something, and it just like my back.
I was trying my best to avoid bumps and holes and stuff. It's literally just a highway. Yeah.
But like any bump or something, like your muscles are already tense, and then you're trying to like stabilize yourself, and you're like, ugh, that doesn't feel the best. But it was not nearly like Truly. I remember Truly, I was like holding my whole body up, trying to lift weight off of my back, with that one arm thing that was hanging from the truck, and it was just so intense the whole drive over, and it was 45 minutes. But with this one, it was about an hour and a half, and it was like I was listening to worship music. I was trying to convince myself that it was real the whole time, that we weren't going to turn around. And then I started crying listening to some worship music.
Okay, so we're driving they're on their way, or on our way, and we have Ellie and Jed behind us driving big old Danny, diesel Ford. And so they're coming with.
Mom hopped in the car with us.
Yeah, which was so sweet. It was so sweet having them there. Everybody that was there, Cameron and Alicia came as well. And so they came. Alicia got our photos. Am I jumping ahead? Or
Yeah, I jumped ahead
okay,
a little bit.
I'm jumping ahead. I was just going to get to who was there. But
so, well, okay, funny enough, again, the drive there was so much more chill than Truly's that, like, Reagan stopped at the gas station. And he got like some random stuff. Yeah, you definitely made some random purchases.
Well, you needed snacks. Like you asked her. I mean, yeah, I did get a.
You got the like most randomest waffle thingies.
There's reasons for all these things.
I think he was panicking. He bought Starbucks, y'all. He doesn't buy Starbucks. He bought a Starbucks. I think he was panicking a little bit.
I wouldn't call it panic. I was hurrying.
It was like a pregnancy purchase. There you go.
My wife in labor is saying, I need a water, I need snacks.
I didn't say anything.
I need this, I need that.
No. I didn't ask for anything, honey.
You so You said you needed a snack.
I did not. Well, when you went to the gas station and you jumped and you were going to get out, I said, hey, grab a granola bar or something.
Yeah, no,
that's literally what I said.
Water
but we didn't
first.
Stop because I was asking for things.
No, we stopped to get you a drink.
We did not.
Yes,
we did not.
So did.
No, we
Why
didn't.
else would I have stopped?
To get gas.
We didn't get gas.
Yeah. You said I need to stop.
No, we didn't get gas.
You said I'm going to stop at this gas station, honey. Yes,
are we going to cut this out or not? I don't know.
We need to call Mom.
No, okay. Legit. Listen.
I did not ask for anything. I promise. But when we stopped and you went to go in, I said, hey, can you grab a granola bar?
Reversing the combo here. The point is that everything I got was intentional. I got a blanket because your water had broke and we didn't have anything in the car to help with that if that had happened. And plus, there was like no towels in the gas station, so I'm like, here, get a blanket, something.
That's funny. Well, the Starbucks.
The Starbucks was like, I needed coffee, not just an energy drink. I wanted coffee. Okay.
Okay. I think they were pregnancy purchases. I think you were just like a little like
Nah.
Just a little.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
I was just like, I needed coffee. So,
so you got Starbucks. You would have gotten Black Rifle or something if you were thinking clearly.
I didn't see it. I just grabbed.
You didn't see it because it was a spare of the moment. Anyway.
All right. I don't know why we're talking about this, but
so
the point was, what was the point?
The point of this was when we stopped. I realized Ellie and Jed were following us, and I knew Ellie was coming. But when I remember,
did you not know Jed was going to come?
In labor, and I look over and I see my little brother in the truck with Ellie, and I was like, "Oh man, he's coming to the birthing center." And I know why he came. Like my dad was supposed to be coming back, and the boys were going to stay back, and but with being an hour and a half away, my little brother would have been stuck out here with like no ride. So my mom probably told him like, "Hey, jump in the car with Ellie," and he's like asleep. And then I looked over and I saw him in the car with Ellie. I was like, well, he probably did not have on his bucket list to be at his sister's birth, but here we go. Granted, obviously he wasn't actually like in there, but he was at the birthing center. Yeah. You can hear things.
Couch in the living room.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a funny note. But anyway, the ride over was super calm, very quiet. Yeah, it was. We had worship music on though, and I actually remember the worship music this time.
Yeah.
I had a couple moments where I was just surrendering to the Lord, and I was just like, Lord, this is your process. This is yours, and if we're about to meet her, Lord,
did you feel like on the drive you were still having questions like this might not be the real thing?
A little bit.
Or were you you weren't convinced that it was real?
I had a little bit. Because even when we got to the birthing center, I started to think, man, this is fake. Yeah.
Okay, so then we get to the birthing center, right? And it's so like
chill.
It's so nostalgic when I'm pulling in there because I've only made that pull in like once before, but truly, but doing it again, it felt so familiar. It felt like it was it wasn't that long ago we were just doing this.
Because it's the same birthing center.
Same birthing center, just same parking lot, different car, but
a lot of sameness, a lot of differentness.
Yeah, I wasn't having to hobble you in there or carry you in there.
Yeah.
But so let's see, we get there. A couple people are already there. So, you had Gayla wasn't there yet, but you had the other staff members there. So yeah, you walk in and things are just super
right
chill.
in.
So like, you walk in and then take it from there.
Yeah, I walked in and I was just like, okay, this better be real. Now I'm here. So I'm either leaving with the baby or I'm going to like be here all night and have to like drive back. So I was still not sure.
And real quick, so all leading up to this, because we are expecting it to be kind of similar to Truly, we always had kept having this running joke of like, I'm gonna step out and get my coffee, and I'm gonna just hang out in the living room while you labor in there.
And we laugh about that because it was so intense. I was like, yeah, right, you're gonna be walking away from me.
And I was there for every moment, right?
Yeah.
It's like I didn't step away. So we get there, and it's already like you're walking in so chill, you're talking to people. The first thing I do is make a coffee, of course.
Yeah, Reagan goes straight for the coffee.
It's just like so not an intense environment. It's like we all know what we're there for, and we know where it's going to lead, but just there was just no tenseness. It was just totally just like a decompressed.
Because the thing is, like, you're, as the mom or as the one going to have labor, you're along for the ride. Like, I can't tell anyone where I'm at or how far along I am or, like what this is going to look like. I'm along for the ride. And so we get there, and I'm still tracking my contractions. Or no, I stopped tracking them in the car, which was actually something I asked my mom. I was like, should I stop tracking them since we're on our way there? And she was like, yeah, go ahead and stop tracking them. And I was like, okay, but what if I stop tracking them and they're way further apart and I don't realize it? And then I could have stopped us or, certain things. And then I cut off that train of thought really quick. When we got there, and I just kept feeling like maybe the contractions were getting further apart, or I was thinking, I thought that, and then I also just asked Brittany, I was like, man, like, Galen said if you change places in early labor, sometimes that can prolong the labor, like postpone or stall the labor a little bit. And so I was like, I don't know if that's happening to me right now. And then Brittany was like, okay, well, my mom was like, you just asked to be checked. Like, check how far along you are, and then you'll know. And I just don't know why, but I did not want to get checked at first because I was just like, don't tell me I'm at a 2 or like I'm only this far along. Like, I was doing the whole racer mindset where I'm like trying to put myself further back than what I was, just because I was like, I don't want to know if I'm not that far along just because they're already here. And
yeah, but before you did get checked, I mean, we were there for how long?
Only 30 minutes.
30 minutes? Okay. I feel like it was longer, but...
Yeah, at 4 o'clock was when I got checked in the morning. So we've been there about 30 minutes.
And so again, like, in between, so before that, for that 30 minutes, I mean, in between contractions, like, we're talking and, like, kind of laughing. There's some jokes.
Well, I wasn't laughing yet.
You weren't?
No, not yet. Because it wasn't until I got checked.
Oh, that's
that
true.
I
guess you were concerned. You were still,
like,
you were still unsure where you were. But my point being that it still wasn't like screaming pain. Like
I was waiting for it to, like, what they call transition. Yeah. I was waiting for me to think I was dying. I was waiting for me to feel like I couldn't do it. That was my benchmark to say, okay, we're having a baby. I was like, when I feel like I can't, that's when I need to push longer, and that's when I know it's for real. So I was just waiting for that moment, and it just wasn't coming. So at 4 o'clock, 30 minutes later, I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just get checked. I'll just know, and that way I know where I'm at. Yeah. So Brittany checks me, and she's like, okay. And I was just, like, reading her face the whole time, like, where are we at here? And she's like, okay, well, you're at an 8. And I was like, what?
You're going to have this baby very soon?
She's like, you're going to have this baby tonight. I'm like, what? I'm at 8? Yeah. And immediately my heart was, like, way more relieved, just knowing that I was progressing and that I actually was
that close,
furthering in the process, and I was that close. And so to me, when she said that, my heart literally lifted. It felt lighter, just because I knew where I was at. And so with Truly, I made that mistake of not getting checked, and then by the time I got checked, I already thought I couldn't do it, and I was at 8 about that point. And so when I heard that I was at 8, I was like, what? I'm literally at that same place with Truly that I
And so what we realized,
didn't think I could do it.
Unbeknownst to us, was these false labor sessions, essentially. They were
We're
moving
definitely
you along.
moving things along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
If my water broke on the way to the
we would have had her in the
midwife,
car.
I would have had the baby
We would have had her in the car.
The car.
100%. Yeah. So, but I didn't need to buy the blanket, it turned out. So.
Yeah. So the very thing I was praying, I was like, Lord, just break my water. Just break my water. He was like, you don't want me to break your water, Faith. Yeah. You're at an 8.
Yeah. Thank you, Lord, for waiting until we got there. So.
Yeah. So we got there, and like after all this, and my heart lightened, then we started laughing. Because then I was relieved. I was so relieved knowing that it was just going that smooth.
Yeah. And so your mom told us at one point, she said, I've never seen like a labor this easy. Like this was a first for her. And so she's had 10 of her own, you know, witnessed your sister give birth and go through labors as well. So like that was just to put it in perspective. And having only seen Truly's birth, I'm still like, this is unbelievable how not in pain you are. In pain, the contractions obviously are still very uncomfortable.
During the contractions, I definitely had to focus. Like, they were painful.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't truly level, but they were painful.
But then, like, after the contractions, you're smiling. And
I was
just totally shook the whole time. Like, I couldn't even...
Me too.
I didn't even really even know what to think. Like, I just was kind of like,
I feel like I think about it, and I'm laughing thinking about it.
Could have been.
I'm laughing even thinking about it, because I'm just like,
I know.
That happened.
I know. It did.
Yeah. I was like, it almost just felt like it just made everything with Truly's feel so much more dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, dramatic.
Yeah. Well,
because
it's kind of, you're there, and you are still thinking, like, is this actually happening?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure she's at an age?
Yeah.
Are you sure we're even in labor?
And so one of the biggest differences was my water hadn't broken, and with Truly, I had already had a really inflamed sciatic nerve, and the contractions were painful themselves. But I remember telling you after Truly's birth, I was like, I think my back labor is more painful than the contractions. And now I kind of like, that's probably exactly what was true about Truly's, was that the back labor was that much more intense than even just the contractions coming in and out. And obviously by the time everyone's actually in the process of like birthing the child, so like pushing and stuff, I would say that part was no easier. But let's get to that point. So pretty much from the point 4 a.m., from the point I knew I was at an 8 till about 7:30, I was just chilling. Because I was just waiting. I was like, all right, I guess I just have to wait till I dilate enough to be able to push. Like, I was so, like, much more aware, but also kind of, like, waiting for, like, essentially just waiting to be told that I could have the baby, which was way different than Truly's. Truly's, I was like,
get this baby
get it.
Like,
we gotta be there. We gotta be there. Any moment, we gotta be there. And it just felt like it was, like, gonna naturally take that turn on its own. But this one, I was just kind of like, so when do we have the baby? You know?
Sure, yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah. Okay, and so who's all here at the birthing center this time?
Yeah, so this time around, and during this whole process of laboring and stuff, I looked at Cameron, which is our sister, Reagan's sister, my sister in love. And I looked at her, and she was someone that I had there because she is my sister. And I also wanted her to be there because they're going to be expecting here hopefully soon.
Gonna start trying soon.
Yeah. So I was like, I want you to be able to come along if you've never experienced labor before, just because like it might give you perspective, or it might just give you some understanding if you've never been a part of the labor process. I hadn't been, and so I think I would have liked to have, if I could have been a part of a labor for my own. So I just like I wanted her there, and so she was there, and we were joking during the labor about, I was like, Cameron, I mean, obviously I hope this is the experience for you, but this is not the only version of labor you might know. Yeah. You know, I was just like, man, don't like give up. I don't want to gaslight her, but I was like, this is also not what I was expecting. So I just told her, well, it looks like apparently labor can be very unexpected because this is not what I expected either, having had given birth. So I do pray that over her. I pray that she has the same experience, or something similar. But so she was in the room.
Cameron.
And then Alicia.
My
sister.
Yep.
It's also, she was taking the pictures. She took the pictures for us.
Beautiful
which was
pictures.
So sweet. And then I had my mom, of course, and Ellie, and then you.
Yep.
It was just us.
Yeah. And then Jed was cashed out on the couch.
Jed was cashed out
Shout
on
out,
the
Jed.
couch.
Uncle
somewhere.
Jed. Yeah.
Yeah, he was able to sleep. That's the whole point. He was able to sleep because he didn't even hear anything.
There you
Like,
go. Yeah.
there was nothing to be said.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Galen gets there about...
And before Galen gets there, we did share a beautiful moment where I asked all the girls to come around you and to pray over you. And I actually recorded that prayer, so we've got that. And hopefully someday I can still have that somewhere and you can listen to that, Nora.
Yeah.
But I just wanted, I didn't want the whole thing to just be laughing and like chill until the labor. So I asked them all, like, hey guys,
you were like, just in case things take a turn.
Well, I mean, not just that, but like,
something sweet.
I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like, this is still serious. Let's have a moment of serious prayer here, just of thanks for what's happening. So got all the girls around you, and that was beautiful.
That was
beautiful
really
for me
sweet.
To hear and to listen to them all pray.
Yeah,
some
praying over
encouragement
Nora.
over you, and
Before
So-
it is really cool because all these girls are there to meet, like not just to be there for me, but to literally experience the miracle of the Lord bringing life into this world. And so they got to witness that with Nora, and that's just something I'll always remember with her birth story is who was in the room.
Yeah.
And this time, I actually really remember who was in the room. Like,
last time people started showing up, and then
Well,
you
yeah.
didn't know they were there first.
hey, but that was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Nora, I feel like I was able to see who was in the room, like this time around. So that was just different and really special.
Yeah.
So Galen gets there
Yeah.
about 7-ish.
Yeah. Couple hours before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when she gets there, I'm like, okay, we're going to have a baby. And I remember with True, when Galen got there too, it was like a relief. But this time I was just like, okay, we're going to have a baby.
Yeah.
So Galen gets there, and when she comes in, I was just kind of like, so when do we have the baby? When does this transition take place? Like, I guess what should I be looking for to know when we're having this baby? And she was like, well, any sensation of like wanting to push or having to go to the bathroom or something like that during a contraction. And I was like, well, I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of that. And so I was like, I guess I just don't know when we're going to have this baby. And she's like, well, I can check you again. Or I can check you since this is the second time I was being checked. So she was like, I'll check you and we'll see where you're at. So Galen checks, and she didn't actually give a number. She gave centimeters. And so essentially she was just saying, like, everyone doesn't actually get to with 10. So she was saying by the cervix and how thinned out it was, she was going to be able to tell how far along I was. And sure enough, she was like, yeah, you're pretty much there. There's just like a little bit of your cervix is still, trying to dilate, but you're pretty much there. So whenever you're ready, like whenever you feel ready. And she had recommended the dilation station is what she calls it, which is, you didn't hear that? The dilation station for 5 contractions, which is literally the toilet, just turning around and facing, facing the toilet.
I didn't hear her call it
pillow,
that. So.
and just sitting through some contractions.
Yeah.
Those definitely felt harder. Like those contractions started feeling pretty intense during those ones. But I was still like super chill, was able to keep my breathing right. And
you actually did end up throwing up though. When you're
not on the
sitting
toilet.
on that. Yeah,
nope,
you did.
I got out of the bathtub for that. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure you threw up on the toilet.
No.
Honey.
We just said it. No, so
I was there.
Honey, so listen,
I held the throw up bag.
I made 3 contractions. Honey, when I threw up on it, I was facing you. I was facing you. I wasn't facing you during these contractions. Remember that?
But you were on the toilet. That's what I'm saying.
But
you
I
turned
went.
around.
Nope. I went back there. So,
okay.
how the story went.
Apparently, we don't remember these things the same.
I do. I was remembering.
That's true. You were a lot more mentally present, so
Yeah. So
you probably do remember it.
I made it through 3 contractions, and then I was like, all right, I think I'm ready, like, to get in the tub. And so we did. We went to the tub. I'm feeling pretty good still, but then I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just going to try to push through one of these contractions and see what happens. This is about 7:30. So I was in the bathtub because I did kind of want to give a water birth this time. I didn't know for sure truly, and it ended up being a water birth. This time around, I was like, I would actually like to do the labor in the tub again. So I was in there talking to my mom, and I was like, man, I just wish my water would break. I just wish it would break. And she was like, well, just go ahead and apply some pressure and try to see what happens when you push. And so I did, and it felt like a wall. I was like, it feels like I'm trying to push, and there's, like, no chance of this baby coming out right now. Obviously, there was lots of chances, but Galen ended up coming in, and I was just telling her, I was like, I feel like it's a wall. Like, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. And she said, obviously at some point it will break, and we can wait it out. She's like, we can break your water, and that would obviously progress things. And so then we kind of came to this interesting place where I wasn't expecting to come to, which was the decision of breaking my water or not. And I don't know why that was, like, such a mental block, I guess, for me, a mental decision. Essentially, I just kind of realized it came to a point where with Truly, it just naturally progressed to that point. I had no choice. It just, like, is going to progress. With Nora, it was almost like I knew this point would come when we'd actually get to the hardest part of the labor. But at the same time, you're having to make the mental decision to go there. Like, it's not like you're just waiting for your body to naturally do it. You're like, hey, I'm going to go there now. And so it's kind of like a weird feeling, almost like when you're going to pull the trigger of a firearm and you, like, have a little bit of anticipation, and you could almost, like, you just feel that anticipation. It was like that, and I was almost, like, not wanting to hear the bang go off. It's like, wait, if I do this, that bang will go off,
Yeah,
and so,
last time it was go, ready, set. This time it was just ready, set, go.
Yeah, totally. So it was kind of a weird place, and I remember just, like, looking at him like, do I do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, and you guys just, like, you had just given
everybody
me
was so
reassurance.
reassuring. I mean, yeah, everybody was saying, it's like, this is completely harmless.
And obviously
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And you're in the tub anyway, so it's not like you're even going to really notice.
I wasn't even afraid of the actual breaking the water. Like, I knew that happens. I mean, it happens naturally. It was just the mental block of knowing when we do this, we're going to go there, like, the hardest part. And it was almost like, okay, I had to make that decision. And so it was so nice to have you there to, like, kind of help. I literally, like, asked you, like, should I do it? I was just like, what do I do? Someone told me. Tell me what to do. Yeah. I didn't want to have to make the decision.
I told you, come on, let's move this along.
Because essentially, I think we could have waited there a whole lot longer. Yeah. And, my laboring was going smooth, but at the same time, I was like, how much longer can it get? And I do remember by this point, so we're hitting like 7, or we're hitting about 8. And I was just like, man, I do think I'm starting to feel a little tired. Even though everything was going smooth, I was like, I think I'm starting to feel a little tired.
You've been up for a solid 7 hours.
Yeah, and I'd only gotten about an on and off hour, 2 hours-ish of sleep. So I was starting to feel a little bit of a wall coming in. And so I was like, man, I don't know how much longer physically I would make it if I waited longer to go to the hardest part of this process. So we did end up deciding to break the water, which was, like, obviously, like,
I think I had my third coffee by this point.
Greg really was there the whole time with me.
I really was, yes.
But yes, you did have coffee breath.
Wow, you remembered. I didn't think you noticed.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed. When you came and gave me a hug, I was like, he had coffee.
Okay, so your water breaks.
Yeah,
we break your water, right? Around what time was that?
That was 8:15.
8:15, okay. And so now you're in the tub. Now things start progressing, right? Things are getting, contractions are feeling harder.
Yeah, not even that they were, like, bearing down that much harder, but when you're pushing through the contraction, it makes it so much more painful.
Did it feel different? You could feel the actual difference when the water was broke?
I didn't feel the difference in the contraction.
Okay.
In the sense of...
But you said before, like, you felt like there was a wall. Did you feel like that wall was still there?
I see, yeah. Well, that's what's interesting. So, after I had the water break, and I felt like I just, like, peed in the tub, pretty much. Like, I could feel the warmth, but, like, no sensation of peeing, But it was interesting. So, Galen said she felt the head come down a little more, too, and she just kept saying, man, your baby's head is so, like, it's, like, right there. So, pretty much I just knew, like, all right, this is going to progress really quickly. But as far as the contractions, I couldn't tell that they were actually more painful than before. But the harder part was the process of like pushing through them. Yeah. That was where it was starting to get way more painful.
Yeah, it was getting real.
Pushing through the pain. You know, everyone's experience is different like than mine, obviously, but I never ever had the sensation to actually push, you know. And I think that's natural, honestly. And other people say opposite. I've heard many people say, man, I just felt like I needed a push. I just needed to get the baby out. And I'm like, I did not feel that. So I was just having to make the mental decision to push through the pain. And that is not a good feeling. So I can't say that I necessarily felt like there was no longer a wall. But I would say because Galen was applying pelvic floor pressure, it did give me a better idea of like where my pushing was going. So I guess it felt more directional because she was applying that pelvic floor pressure. But as far as like if the contraction was feeling like it was doing anything, that honestly didn't change. So I couldn't really tell how long I was going to be there pushing, to be honest.
And the whole time that we're going through all this, we've got Nora's song playing in the background, which is
Let There Be by Amanda Cook.
Let There Be. And so the main part of that song is Let There Be Light, is the first verse, or the first chorus, I guess, of that song.
Yeah, let there be light, let there be life.
Life, and let there be Christ. Yeah. So, beautiful song.
So beautiful.
That's your song, Nora. So you can,
yes. It was like a declaration the whole time.
It was.
And I remember tuning in and out of that song this time. Like, I remember hearing the music in and out.
Yeah, so we had it playing for pretty much the whole time on repeat. Just kind of lightly in the background. And all of us, I think, had definitely moments where we heard it and then started paying attention. And it just brought a lot of, I don't know, just like having a song that is attached to the person you're about to bring into this world. It just brings such a rich meaning, and like it's more.
Well, it's like what
it's
you're
more
declaring.
Than just there's a person about to be born. It's like our person is about to be born. You know, this person is with meaning behind who they are.
Yeah,
we're about to meet them.
Well, and it's not just any song. It's like having a song that feels so in line with the purpose the Lord put on your heart for this child. And so for us hearing, let there be light, let there be life, let there be Christ, it was almost like a banner over Nora's life, like before she even took her first breath. It's like saying. Because
we knew, you know, for a long time that we wanted light to be the meaning of her name. Right, and so we thought that was Nova for a long time.
Actually, that's
comes
true.
out to be Nora. That's the actual meaning.
Her name did not start with Nora.
Yeah, it started with Nova.
Yeah, Nova. That was your daddy's heart.
We decided on Nova. I can't remember how long we had that, but because we thought that meant light. We thought that meant light.
You thought it meant light.
I thought that it did for the longest time.
And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love the name. I thought it was a cute name, but I didn't love it, and I think it's because I just didn't feel I didn't feel like I could make the name mean what we thought it meant, which is when I found out that it didn't mean light.
Right, and so that Nova means new, but we just felt like, no, this child is light. Like, their name needs to mean light. So we found Nora.
Well, and funny enough, Nora just kept showing up in places. And the first time I heard that name, I'm going to cry. Yeah. The first time I heard that name was actually
somebody else's Nora.
Somebody else's Nora.
Yeah.
And I remember we were praying for this little girl and her family, and she ended up having a life-threatening illness, and she did end up passing away close to Christmas. 1 year, so like 2 years before Truly. And
she was like 3.
I was pregnant with Truly, actually.
But this Nora was 3, I think, when she
Nora was
passed.
like
She was
2 or
young.
3.
Yeah,
Very
2 or
young.
3. Yeah.
And I remember we just kind of watched the family from a distance walk through this process. We had a relationship with one of the daughters, but we didn't walk very closely with this family or anything like that. It was just really like a it was my whole family was praying for this family. And when we got news that the little girl didn't make it, I remember that was the first time I heard the perspective of a parent really being thankful that they got to have 2 to 3 years with their daughter. When you're like, you could have asked every other question, and I'm sure they did. Like, every other question, why, or like, how could you take our child so early, God? And like, I'm sure they wrestled with those things, but the only thing I took from it was hearing, thank you that we got to have that much time with our daughter. And so that name was the first time I heard that name, Nora. And actually, funny enough, and I don't know if you know this, but whenever we thought her name was going to be Nova, we went up to Austin and Maddie's house for a dinner when we were up in Arkansas. And I'd already had this thought about, what about Nora? And I hadn't told you yet. And I look over on their counter, and there was this paper bag that said Nora on it. And I remember it's like thinking at first it looked like Nova. And I was like, Nova? And then like the bag, she picked up the bag and it said Nora on it. And I remember thinking, what are the odds? And it's literally was just an herbal tea, like mix that she had for pregnancy. I don't know why it said Nora on it. So when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that's kind of weird. I'm thinking about this Nora name, and then I saw that bag, and then I was like, man, I don't know. So that was why I looked up the name in the very first place, was this Nora name was kind of coming to my mind from the family that we had heard this name from. And when it popped up, I was kind of like, this is the only place I think I can bring origin to knowing this name from. Like, I don't know anything about this name. And then seeing the bag made me literally look it up. Like, and so that was when I decided to kind of like look up this name. And I found that it is a derivative of a Greek and Latin word. And the two, I mean, everything surrounding the root of this word is light, either shining light in other languages, or torch, or God is my light. I mean, everything that ties to this name is the longer name of Eleanora, like the derivatives. But everything comes back to light with this name. And so, to me, I was just thinking, man, like, what if this is literally the name? So I asked you one night sitting in that rocking chair, I was like, what if we just changed one syllable in the name? And you were like, what? Because you were really sold on the name too. And I knew you loved Nova, and so I didn't want you to, like, not have the name. But at this point, we knew it didn't mean light. And so when I looked it up and found Nora meant light and torch, I asked you about it, and you were like, oh, it's not Nova. And you had really settled on that name in your heart for a while, but you're like, but my heart is settled on the name meaning. And so you're like, I think I could probably go with Nora. And so we just talked about it for a bit and just kind of like let it sit for a while.
And I love your name. I love your name, baby girl. Like,
hey,
it's
Daddy
beautiful.
did this with Truly as well.
Okay. I definitely had, like, obviously I had thought through Nova for a long time, and so I had that in my head as the name. And so it was just a matter of, kind of putting that out and just replacing it with Nora. But, I mean, Eleanora is absolutely beautiful.
So we didn't even have the full name
fallen
yet.
in love with this name, so.
We didn't even have the full name yet. I had already kind of thought Nora Rea Lynn, which Ray is Reg. So it's a little bit after you. And then Lynn is for my sister Stephanie. And so we kind of had Nora Rea Lynn already picked out. But when we decided on Nora, I was talking to you in the car one day. I was like, what if we went with the full name? Like, Eleanora. And I was like, I know it's longer, and it's, like, definitely a different sound than what we originally thought. But what if we went with the full Eleanora, the Greek version, and then she just went by Nora? Like, we have a nickname for True. And that's exactly what we decided to do. We wanted to give her the full, like, beautiful name, and then we shortened it to Nora. So that's the name meaning, and that's why this song, oh wow, that was a really long rabbit trail. Yeah. But really beautiful. I want you to know why we named you this. Yeah. So when we were in the tub, and I was in the tub. Well, we were in the tub. And I was pushing, we started pushing at like 8:15. So, I mean, it was like only a 30-minute process. We had Nora at 8:47, so about 30 minutes. Felt a lot longer than that, but when we started pushing and working through the hardest part of the labor, I'd say that was when I started tuning in and out of this song. And the song meaning light and talking about, it's like a declaration of life and what light really is. Like light is the fullness of like God in my perspective. I mean, light encompasses the beauty and the fullness of God, and I think there's a reason why that's like the first thing in creation he does. It says like, let there be light. And because that is who God is. He is light. He, like, darkness is voidness, but light is fullness. And
I just love the beginning of John's gospel. He was the life, and the life was a light to all men, and the darkness is not overcome. The light. It's just
absolutely
so beautiful. So like, that message is what we hope your life embodies, and it's just an overflow from how you live, and being an extension of the light of Christ. That's what we're praying over you, and what we've prayed for months up to this point.
And it's not just like an accent in a room. Like light can't just be an accent in a room. Like it consumes everything. And so that's our prayer over Nora, is that her life is not just accented by things of nature, true in nature, or things that are like God, but that her life is fully encapsulated by God. And the thing we also liked about the Greek translation was that it also meant torch, and torches are guiding lights. You use torches to make a way or make a path, and you bring them along the journey. And with Nora, it just reminded me of that the Lord is a lamp unto our feet, a light unto our path. And it's like in our generation and generations to come, we need those guiding lights, like those leaders and those who are able to walk the narrow path. And that is what we were called to. And so our prayer is that she would also not just be that for herself, but walk that guided light for herself, but also be that for other people.
And again, why this is so beautiful, Nora, why we picked this is because it just is all so connected, because God's word being a lamp to our feet, light to our path. Okay, well, Christ is the word made flesh. He is the light. And so as a guiding light, we just like pointing people to the light. You want to lead people to the light as a guiding light. It's just and all the lights, like it's so beautiful. There's no room for darkness in the purpose of your life, and the meaning of who you have been called to be, who God has fashioned you to be. It's just beautiful. Yeah.
And it's not like the cliche depth of like, oh, I just want you to be a light to all the people. Like, no, we don't want Nora's life by any means to even be like a kind sense or fragrance to other people, even though that is something I pray over our daughters, is that they would walk in kindness. But actually a word that the Lord kind of put in my heart for her along with light was like pure and meekness. Specifically, those two words have come around circles when I'm praying over her. It's just like this meekness that draws people to the Lord, and also just like this purity of heart and everything that she does. And so we already see that in her. Like, I already believe that so surely of her character and who she's going to be. And obviously she's only 8 days old, so it's really just speaking over her life. But I just believe so firmly that this is who she is. And that's what I felt like I was about to meet. Like in that process of birthing, and you're just trying to make it through every contraction and not knowing actually the moment that this would all come to its point of purpose. But you're just waiting for that moment, and at the same time knowing who you're about to meet in a way, because you've prayed so much for them. You almost know. You almost know who you're meeting.
And so finish real quick. Just wrap up the last moments of delivery, right? Like right before she was born. What was the ending part like?
Oh my gosh. I just feel like the only description for this is like the understanding of like Christ being agonized in pain so much, and obviously this is not even close to the bar, but for us, I think as women, this is the closest we'll ever feel to that kind of love, is making it through like the most agonizing pain for the sake of someone else. But then at the same time, you get to the moment where like the life is born in an instant. It's like it is finished, right? That moment of Christ going from agonizing pain to it is finished. And the work is like done and life is given. Like it, I mean, that's what it feels like. Oh.
That was precious.
So.
And so real quick before I lose this thought, or you want to finish it? What you're saying?
I was going to say like
okay.
What happened as like I was going to deliver.
Yeah, and so and on this before you get to that, so because it was so hard but truly, I felt like you, and in the video we did but truly, you really articulated how that gave you that little glimpse into sacrifice that does cost something, that leads to life. And so this time around, it's not so hard. It's not as difficult, but then there does come a point where
it's depleted you of everything.
You're depleted of everything, but at the same time, you have this moment where, now explain what happened.
Yeah. So, like truly, I mean, this is just girl stuff. My uterus is a tilted uterus, and so, when I was having truly, this took place as well. There's part of your cervix, like you essentially when you have a tilted uterus, that you kind of have like a lip, and with truly, my midwife had to keep kind of like holding it back because it was trying to come forward before the baby, and that you don't want to prolapse, and that's not good. And so the same thing was happening with Nora, except she was bigger. She's a bigger girl. Truly was 6 pounds 9 ounces. And Nora was almost 8 pounds. She was 7 pounds 15 ounces. Yeah. And I did not know. I didn't know how much she weighed, but obviously during that process, when Galen was having to push that lip back because it was like really trying to like prolapse and come before the baby, she was having to keep pushing it back. But when her head finally made it past that part of the cervix, I felt what people call the ring of fire. Yeah, it's a real thing. I didn't feel it truly. I just felt pressure. But this time I was like, holy moly, there is something coming. And it's so true. It just feels like something's burning. And so when her head came, that y'all said, like, her head had come, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, we're almost there.
And I could actually see your head in the water this time. So like I could see like
because the water was
I could
clear.
see the progression of everything. Yeah.
So to me, I was like, okay, we're almost there. Like one more push, pretty much. And I don't know if it was really one more push or if it was two.
Well, and so what I was asking about was when Galen said when she's trying to swallow.
Yeah.
But she's still underwater at this point.
Yeah. So her head came out.
So you had this thought. What were you thinking when you heard that?
Well, so was that when her head came out, or was that when part of her body came out?
Her head was pretty much all the way out. It was basically like here.
Okay, so her head.
Yeah.
So when her head had come into the water, because it was in the water, Galen had said she's trying to swallow water, and so Galen had said, "We're gonna get you out. We're gonna get you out." And so when she said that, I was like, or she said, "We're gonna need to get you out."
Yeah.
And so I was like, obviously in the middle of contraction. Okay, let me finish this part. Okay. I was in the middle of contraction, and I was like, dude, what does that mean? And so to me, it really felt like all of a sudden the weight of the life was on me. Like, I don't even know if it was like actually a super dangerous situation, but I could hear the concern in my midwife's voice. And so when she said that, all of a sudden I tuned into the song and said, let there be life. Yeah. Like, let there be life. And I just remember that moment. I was like, you're in agonizing pain, but then it was like everything in me, like every ounce of life in me was like, this life is coming out right now. Like, I just felt the weight of her life in my hands. And I was like, even if I felt like I couldn't, I have to. Like, I have to get this child out of me.
There's no choice.
There's no choice.
Even if I feel like I have nothing, there's
right.
no, I have
and I felt
to.
like that's like Christ. Like,
Right.
even if he, even,
and that's what I feel like was the similar experience with Truly. Like, there was, you still had this recognition that even though I have nothing, love gives everything. For life to happen.
Yep. Yeah. So. That was exactly what I felt like, and I tuned into the song at the right time, which is exactly what I needed to hear in that moment, and I think that was the last contraction. And there she was, and she came right up on my chest.
Yep, yes, she did. And so, okay, last time, like I did with Truly being born, I showed you a photo, and so what were you thinking in that moment?
I'm pretty sure I just kept saying thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I looked right at Galen, and I was like looking at her, and I was like, thank you for helping me.
Yeah. It was a very similar response.
Yeah.
It's just like, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear Choo-Choo. You want to get her?
Let's take a pause for just a second. Let me get Choo-Choo in here.
Okay.
Big sissy.
Look at you and your age difference with
big
your sister.
I think she even has her big sis shirt on.
Mommy put that on her.
Big sis.
And your braids. You let me braid your hair for the
Somebody
first
just
time.
woke up. Here, let's get a drink.
Hey, she probably wants some milk.
Okay. Let's get it.
Okay, Truly's gonna watch some Jesus. Wow, we finished this, huh? Okay, you sure we're still going?
All right. Yeah, we're
Okay.
good. We're good to go.
Yeah. Okay, so
where were we?
The moment where Nora actually comes.
Yeah.
And again,
you're holding her for the first time.
I swear, the same analogy, like it is finished. It has to be the closest we'll come to understand that, because you go from the most intense everything to life literally right in front of you, and it felt so quick by that point, and all of a sudden holding Nora, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is an entirely different child. I didn't think she was breathing at first, and that made me nervous. And it was probably because she must have actually swallowed some water. But she was still breathing. Obviously, she had her umbilical cord, and at that point, that's the natural process of where she's going to be getting her oxygen and stuff anyway. But so I remember thinking for a second, I was like, I don't know if she's breathing, but she was just really purple. And then everything started to oxygenize, or whatever the word is. But then I'm just holding her, and I just remember, I don't remember ever looking at your eyes. I don't remember looking at you pretty much the whole labor process, the actual delivery.
It was a handful of minutes after that you finally looked at me. But it was after I prayed, so it was a couple of minutes had gone by.
We're just thanking the Lord.
We had cut this is before I cut the cord.
Okay.
But so I started praying, and same as with Truly, I just dedicated her life to the Lord and thanked God for an alive child and that the fact that we have her now. But man, I just thanked Him for the process and for the moment, and that we had her now at that time, and that we just devoted her life to Him and gave, essentially. I mean, I think this is important, and I mean, there's this beauty, and you literally just got your child in the moments that you just got him, and then you give him back to the Lord. It's like, for me as a father, I think those are my Abraham moments where I have to give Isaac back. And the Lord has blessed us with these beautiful children in our family, but we do have to remember that they belong to the Lord first. And so it's important for me, I think, in that moment to just say that for him, and to make it known for myself too, that God, thank you for this life that you just gave us. They belong to you. They belong to you. But thank you for giving them to us to steward their life here on earth.
I'm so thankful that you, in those moments, you had the words that I just could only cry, like, honestly. And so it's so special that you're such a leader for our family and that you do take that on for yourself. And I just remember listening to that. And literally as you started praying, I was like, this is, of course, my husband. Like, you're going to do that. You're going to dedicate this life to him as soon as it's yours, which is so special. And I also remember thinking, he's done it again. Like, whenever Nora came, I remember it was just like, it feels like such a kick in the face to the enemy, you know, with every doubts and lies that you've, like, battled with the Lord. And it's like, he's done it again. Like, it just felt so, the breath of fresh air, thinking, like, oh, here she is. Like God is just as good as he was before with Truly.
Another moment of faithfulness, just showing showing his faithfulness.
Yeah, and that's just what I continue to feel afterwards too. It's just, you know, there's often times when we stop expecting of God, you know, like as if his last work is his last good work in your life.
Or that it couldn't get better. It's like...
Well, and like better isn't not better than the child before.
No,
but yeah. But even more gracious. Like, again, that birthing process was obviously so much more, it was so much different, and it felt just like gracious. You know, that's the word I would call that. That's the word I would label over that whole delivery process. The Lord was so gracious to us. And, but then afterwards too, it's just like, why do we ever stop living in expectancy for God to do a good and wondrous work like that? Why would we ever think that he's done all that he could do for us? And not do as in like, oh, like we need these things from the Lord, but like that his heart is a father who seeks good gifts for his children. You know, scripture talks about how even an evil father seeks to give good gifts to their children. Why would we expect anything less from our Father? Like, why would we expect him to want to take such a special thing and manipulate it in any way, or like try to like jinx gotcha? Like, no, like God gives good gifts even when they're different than your expectations. And so, but in that moment it was just like he's done it again. And like, again, that word wonder comes back to me, and it feels like when we're drawing from his well, we should never expect for the well to come up short. You know, the next time you draw water from it, it's like every time it's going to be full to the brim. Every time you're going to draw from a deeper point of God. Like, the more you draw, the deeper you will go with the Lord. And that's why he tells us to draw near to him, and he will draw near to us. Like, we're not supposed to just draw once and then expect, you know, oh, I'm not going to even draw again because it's going to be empty, or it's going to be shorter, or not as sweet as before. It's like, no. Draw into the Lord and let him show you who he is. And so that moment was just like holding this birth child of ours and being like, wow, he's done it again. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I think I definitely felt a lot of the same feelings of just like, this feels familiar but entirely new at the same time. Entirely new.
Like, literally in this child. And I honestly never had those feelings of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to love this child. Like, I never had that, honestly. I was so sure the whole time. I was like, no, I'm going to love this child. I can't wait. Like, and I could not wait for the two girls to meet, for sure. But when I was holding her, it was just like, whoa, this is a whole different being, though. Yeah. With entirely different purpose, entirely different soul, entirely different, even like everything. Like, she's got a little dot dimple in her cheek, and looking at her little eyes, and they're like not Truly's eyes looking back at me. They're a different child, but yet knowing that she's gonna call me mom, she's gonna call you dada, and like dad.
And them meeting was so cute. That was so precious.
Oh my gosh,
I got her home, and Truly was, well, we'll just cut to the video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, loved that moment. That was awesome. Getting to see Truly's reaction. So sweet.
Oh, the drive back, too.
Yeah, the drive back. Okay, this is the other thing. Yeah, exactly. So, the sunset for both, because around the same time they were born of the day.
They were almost to the hour, the same timeline.
Like, so close.
Yeah.
And so we ended up going home around the same time. And so it was around the sunset time with Truly. It was like a deep red, gorgeous sunset.
No,
on
not red.
Was it not red?
It was gold.
Gold? It was
So gold, like glory.
like a golden orange, but it was a beautiful sunset over on the left, and almost this thunderstorm over on the
It
right.
was. It was dark black clouds, like almost completely divided
Yeah.
on the left and the right.
Yeah,
It was like
and
a
the whole
stark
world
contrast.
was tinted orange,
Gold.
but it was this gold. Gold is orange, or whatever. Okay.
Nuh-uh.
But the point was, there was just this contrasted sky, and it was a stark reminder that her name being truth,
It's almost like a double-edged sword.
double-edged
Like,
sword, but we live in a culture that is so contrasted.
Yeah,
like
it's
it
like
is
war.
a clear war of truth and
Yeah.
lies, good and evil. So
Yeah.
there was just a drive home with a sky that
Oh my
reminded us of
gosh,
that, and then
yeah.
drive home with her. Nothing but this gorgeous, just bright
Gold
sunset,
sun.
like bright gold.
But that's it.
Yeah,
You're
like
just
hardly any clouds, but it was just this. It was like not harsh, but like all-consuming sunset. It
All-consuming,
was just
yeah.
like everywhere.
Not even like, I didn't even see a bunch of color. It was just gold. Probably was colored a little bit later when the sun actually fully set, but I didn't
Yeah.
even see like colors in the clouds or like changing. Like it was just gold.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was beautiful.
Beautiful, which is again like such a cute. I always looked at her and I was like, cute. Such
Yeah.
a cool symbolism
Yeah.
of their two name meanings.
Yeah, and so here we are now.
Two.
Two in the home.
Under two.
Two under two.
Yeah.
It's wild and crazy and beautiful and magnificent and wonderful and
Yeah.
all the things we ever hoped it would be and more.
Yeah. Obviously, like,
Yeah.
we're finding our new rhythm.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see
Definitely
our
still finding
family
that out.
growing, though. And, you know, again, like, I couldn't have asked the Lord for Nora. Couldn't have asked for every detail of her. And even now, just her, like, sweet, cuddly personality. Like, I just couldn't ask the Lord for what goodness would look like. But yet, this is, like, what it is. And it's just awesome. I'm crying so much.
Well, I'm just like, give me the struggles and the difficulties and the wrestling to figure all this out, because I would so much rather have the life that is brought into the family.
Yeah.
With all of the
Oh my gosh.
unknowns and the figuring it out, all the what ifs. Like,
Yeah.
give me all that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have the life.
It's just, even when you bring life into this world, like, life doesn't stop, or you don't cater life to your children. Like, your children, all of a sudden, you're like, wow, they are journeying the journey. And we're like all on the journey together. And so it's like now we have another one to journey with. And we have a lot we already have so much going on this year. Like, our two are going to go to Israel in just a couple months.
Bringing these two with us.
We bring these two with us.
It's gonna
Like,
be
that's our
crazy.
journey. It's part of it. And yeah, I mean, we just have no idea what all that this year holds, but wonder is this year. Like, not just this year, but it's our focus of just believing that God wants us to be expectant of Him, like, ready for Him to move, and not be stale, and not expect that He's done His last work. So
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Nora,
Nora.
family, and anyone else watching, that is
Welcome
your
to the
story
family.
of coming into the world. And now Truly is going to have a playmate soon. Come here, True.
Come here.
Let's say bye to
Can you say
family
bye?
on the video. Look, can you look right there at the camera and say, bye, Sissy? Say bye, Sissy.
say bye.
Can you do your thing? Go, shh. What do you have to say about Sissy? She said, I love you. I guess that's it. Why don't we end in prayer? Let's pray.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's pray over Nora and just our family.
Gigi, we're gonna pray.
Sure, pray. You ready? Okay. Oh, no.
Gigi, come here.
Come here. We're going to pray. Okay. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for this beautiful family and all that you're doing in our lives. And we are blessed to have the addition of Nora now, to be able to see her face and hear her voice and feel her breath. God, I just pray for your spirit to rest upon her life, Lord. Pray for your blessings and your grace to be made known to her, Lord, as she grows to learn the meaning of her name and the light that is you, and to be able to reflect your light, God. I just pray for that to happen. And man, Lord, I'm just confident, and I know of your faithfulness that you've proved time and time again to me. And I just look forward to seeing that faithfulness make itself known in Nora's life. So thank you for keeping faith strong and healthy and safe. And I just pray for your presence to fill our home and continue to lead us and guide us as our guiding torch. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Amen.